What's up, guys? It's Rantium here, and today we are back in Skyrim. That's right, you guys, and don't snap is gonna be an awesome freaking day. So, guys, welcome back and happy Wednesday. So, today we are staring at the stars because I didn't want to stare at the forge, but today we're taking a look at the Weaponizer's weapon sets. Now, the Weaponizer weapon set is a gargantuan mod that adds a ton of weapons, over 100 weapons, into the game that are based off of the already pre-existing vanilla weapons, but they just add a little bit more spice and a little bit more flavor to not only yourself, but to the bandits, to the guards, to everyone around Skyrim. Now, I will go ahead and put a disclaimer here at the beginning. This will not showcase every single weapon. It will showcase a majority of the ones that you can smith. However, keep your eyes open for special versions of the swords that the guards carry, that the Imperial guards carry, and so on and so forth. There's quite a few mods, or quite a few weapons in this mod, so trying to narrow down where all of them are at, and how to get all of them, would take a long time, especially with how big Skyrim is. So, where exactly can you find the weapons that I'm talking about? Well, you're probably going to want to have 100 smithing, and you're probably going to want to max out all of the stars in the constellation. And when you find yourself at an anvil or a forge, you can find the newest weapons that you can create inside of the iron, inside of the steel, inside of dwarven, elven, orcish, ebony, glass, and daedric, I believe. I have not found anything with dragon. However, there are brand new things with arrows. So we have the Dovahkiin arrows and the Dragonbone arrows. Those are the vanilla ones. But then we've also got glass arrows. Those have been in the vanilla. But we also have ruby arrows. And if we come down into miscellaneous, we can find silver arrows, which are indeed good against the undead and or werewolves, which is always nice to see. I don't believe there's anything in the Nordic section, nor is there anything in the chitin section or the bone mold section. Would have been cool to see some cool bone mold stuff, but alas, it is not there. Nothing in the jewelry section as far as I know, but in the Daedric section, we have the regular Daedric arrows, but at the bottom, we have the vampiric arrows, and these are pretty cool. It takes ebony ingots and vampire dust to make those bad boys. Then within ebony, you've got amethyst and diamond arrows, which are super beautiful, as well as sapphire arrows. And then within here, I don't believe there's anything else, with the exception of the troll arrows, which requires troll skulls. But honestly, I think they might just do differing levels of damage when it comes to, actually shooting them. Spriggan arrows, this is one of my favorites because of the super cool green. And then we've got blades arrows inside of there, and golden arrows there. And then inside of steel, we have cheap bandit arrows. These are all actually kind of nice to have. And then finally, I believe that was actually the last one, with the exception of maybe one more? No, okay, so yeah, those bandit ones were the final ones that I wanted to showcase and show off. Perhaps this one, actually, wood arrows. Being able to just make arrows out of firewood is honestly kind of nice. So, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the weapons that I went ahead and crafted, because I went ahead and crafted the suite of weapons across all of the possible crafting armors and weapons, just to take a look at them. So we're here inside of the Shellblad Armory, taking a look at all of the weapons that we've crafted, and you can tell there's a bit of a running theme with a bunch of them, because all of the weapons are the exact same. They have the same titles, whether it's a halberd, whether it's a long sword, whether it's a hex mace, a short sword, a spear, anything like that. However, a lot of these weapons are actually just the vanilla weapons with more vanilla weapons on top of them. So right here we've got the Daedric War Maul. In fact, let's go ahead and turn on the heads-up display. That way you guys can see what exactly they're called. So right here, the Combat Hammer is what it's called. It is the regular war hammer with kind of the Daedric sword at the end of it, but it's a one-handed weapon as opposed to a two-handed hammer. The Daedric spear is just gigantic, and I love it so much. It's got the mace at the back, and then it's got the swords at the top. 3 swords to be exact. And then down here is the Daedric Longsword. Looks like the Daedric Greatsword, but is in fact a one-handed sword. The Daedric Bastard Sword, I believe, is a one-handed sword as well, which is probably the most custom design that we've seen here. Then we get into the dual battle axes and the halberds, which is a combination of the, looks like part of the Greatsword, part of the battle axe. Just a whole bunch of stuff there. The Hex Mace looks exactly like the regular mace, except it has 6 of these little flanges that come out there. And then you have the Daedric Club. Now, every single one of these weapons has kind of the same suite of weapons. We have the Dwarven Bastard Sword, the Dwarven Spear, the Dwarven Short Sword, Dwarven Composite Axe, and the Halberd. So you can see that each of them, I love this one, each of them kind of has the same thing, but each of them also has their own little flair. Now, when it comes to the ebony ones, there's a composite axe and a dual battle axe. These ones are basically the same weapons, except this one has the ebony swords at the top, but this one does not. Looks like this one actually does more damage than the composite axe, which is interesting. But they're beautifully done weapons. If we go ahead and take a look at the detail here within the ebony spear, it is just the ebony swords, but I like how they're kind of fused together. The ebony hex mace is absolutely one of my favorites because it's like a dual stacked ebony mace. Ebony short sword is literally just a shorter version of the regular sword, but the bastard sword looks really, really pretty. I love the details within the hilt. And then over here we have the ebony halberd. Now, I'm a big fan of halberds. In fact, I've used them before in one of the other mods that adds a ton of weapons, and that's Private Eye's Heavy Armory. I believe they've actually had a little bit of inspiration in making these weapons, and I gotta say, I'm very pleased with that. So over here we have the Elven stuff, Elven Short Sword, Elven Long Sword. The Combat Hammer is literally just the War Hammer, but shrunk down to have it able to be carried in one hand. Elven Composite Axe, and again, the Dual Battle Axe. Both the same weapon, one with a sword at the top, and then an Elven Halberd. Same thing with the glass, but the glass maul looks so deadly. Look at that, it's got freaking spikes in it, dude. That's so pretty. And then again with the Composite Axes, and then the Dual Battle Axes. And then we've also got some iron stuff over here. This is an iron maul, as well as an iron club. This is an iron longsword, which is exactly the same as the greatsword, except it's a one-handed version. But then you take a look at the dual battle axe and the composite axe and the halberd. They're all the same weapon, just with multiple weapons on them, which is honestly kind of nice, if I'm gonna be honest. And then finally we come to my favorites, which is the Orcish set. And I never thought I'd say that about Orcish, but it's absolutely amazing looking. So we have the Orcish club down here, and then the Orcish short sword, but the Orcish composite axe looks so good. It looks so just serrated, and I love that so much. The bastard sword actually looks like an iron greatsword, but it's got that green hint there, and it looks really, really nice. Orcish halberd looks amazing. The lines flow perfectly. Orcish dual battle axe is so cool. And then finally the spear. It's a bit shorter than a lot of the other spears that we've taken a look at, but it looks just as deadly because it's basically two maces stacked on top of each other with a long sword coming out of the end, and then the hex mace right there. So each of these weapons can be found within the forge for you to go ahead and craft. They require basically the same materials that you would normally need to craft the vanilla suite of weapons, but instead it adds just that little bit more flair and flavor to not only yourself, but to the guards and the bandits and everyone else around Skyrim. Now, like I said at the beginning of today's showcase, there are many more weapons out there other than the regular versions of these weapons. You can make them better, and you can enchant them, but what are you guys thinking about this mod? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Would you use a mod like this? Because honestly, all it does is add more flavor to the world of Skyrim, and it's not too big as far as file size go. I believe it was 65 or 67 megabytes, which is relatively small compared to some of the mods that I've been showcasing as of late. But I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are down there in the comment section. Which set is your favorite? I'd love to hear that as well. But until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next showcase.